Hello, you're watching VNA News Bulletin. I'm Bang from Hanoi and now the headlines. Prime Minister Nguyễn Phúc asked Content province to develop and protect forests. Hanoi welcomes more than 2 million international tourists in the first 6 months. Photos honor Vietnamese dads. Prime Minister Nguyễn Phúc has asked the Central Highlands province of Kon Tum to develop and protect forests while strictly handling the destruction of natural forests. At the working session in Hanoi, Prime Minister Phúc asked Kon Tum province to speed up agricultural restructuring by fostering the farming of livestock and crops it has strength in, along with applying high technology. While Kon Tum, home to a large number of ethnic minorities, has to expand educational coverage to improve local intellectual level, it is necessary to ensure political security and social order and safety in all circumstances. Pointing out shortcomings the province has to deal with as soon as possible, the Prime Minister requested local administration take measures to increase state budget revenue and boost poverty elimination. He highly valued its efforts to protect forests and cultivate rare herbal plants like Ngọc Linh Ginseng, which is indigenous to this province, and profitable industrial plants such as coffee. In the first half of 2016, local GDP was estimated at nearly $190 million, a year-on-year hike of 5.03%. The province raked in $32 million in export revenue, representing 49.2% of the annual target. Notably, Kon Tum has successfully grown almost 74,780 hectares of rubber trees, 180 hectares of Ngọc Linh Ginseng, and about 50 hectares of winter vegetables and flowers. However, drought between January and June caused water shortages on over 4,190 hectares of rice, other crops and industrial trees, resulting in damage worth over $7 million. More than 12,640 families lack water for daily use. Vietnamese officials have actively participated in discussion panels of the 32nd session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, which concluded in Geneva with 34 resolutions approved. Among the adopted resolutions, Vietnam was the co-author of the resolution on the rights of children and climate change, together with the Philippines and Bangladesh. The resolution, introduced at the session's opening ceremony on June 13th by Vice President Đặng Thị Ngọc Thịnh, received the ideas and support from numerous nations and organizations during consultation rounds, which lasted 3 weeks. During the discussion process, Vietnam affirmed that negative consequences of climate change hinder the enjoyment of people's rights, including the right to live, to receive health care, and to develop. In the country, climate change, especially abnormal floods, drought, and saline intrusion, claimed thousands of lives, destroyed a great number of houses, schools, and infrastructure facilities every year. It poses a challenge for food security for not only Vietnam, but also many countries importing food from Vietnam. Based on Vietnam's responsible ideas, the Council approved the resolution, affirming the international community's attention to the relationship between children's rights and climate change. Besides Vietnam, the Philippines and Bangladesh, nearly 100 countries have registered to sponsor the resolution. At the 32nd session, Vietnam also co-sponsored 5 resolutions on youth and human rights, the right to education, the right to food, the right to peace, and international unity. More than 10,000 apartments were put for sale in Ho Chi Minh City in the second quarter of 2016, of which just over 5,800 units were sold. These figures have been released by property service firm CBRE Vietnam.
In comparison to previous quarter, the figures represented a 20% increase in the number of apartments and a 35% drop in the sales. Of the total apartments in the period, 22% belong to the high-end segment, most of which came from Vingroup's Vinhomes Golden River project. In the later half of the year, more apartments from a number of property projects such as the Golf Park Residence, Elite Park, Diamond Island and Empire City will be available. According to the Ho Chi Minh City Real Estate Association, the local property market has shown signs of slowdown with a shortage of affordable small and medium-sized products. Approximately 57,000 apartments will be marketed this year. In the first half of 2016, the city issued 15,148 certificates of land and property ownership.
Remittances to Ho Chi Minh City in the first half of this year rose 3% year-on-year to $2.1 billion. The central bank's Ho Chi Minh City branch said the remittances mainly went to production and business.
The bank forecast that remittances to the city would continue to rise, reaching roughly $5.7 billion due to the city's rapid economic rebound. The sum of money to Ho Chi Minh City, one of the top localities nationwide with the largest volume of remittances, have increased roughly 10 to 12% on average during the past 5 years. The rise has been mainly driven by an increase in remittances from the US and the EU, while remittances from China and the Republic of Korea had remained modest. Remittances to the city last year reached $5.5 billion, inching up against the $5.2 billion received in 2014. Compared with last year's overall remittance of nearly $12.3 billion, Vietnam's remittance for this year has been forecast to increase slightly in the wake of government policies to encourage overseas Vietnamese to invest in their homeland and due to the warming of the local real estate market.
The index of industrial production in the first half of 2016 grew by 7.5% from a year earlier, compared to the 9.7% recorded for the same period last year.
The lower growth rate is attributed to contraction of the mining industry, which forms the biggest proportion of the industrial sector. The industry saw a 2.2% decrease from January through June, mainly due to a 6.1% decline in crude oil exploitation. That cut the index down by 0.5 percentage points. The growth was also dragged down by slowdown in consumer demand and political instability in some other countries that resulted in shrunken export markets. Meanwhile, the processing and manufacturing industry, with a 10.1% increase, was the biggest contributor to the 6-month industrial production. Although expanding by 11.7% and 8.1%, electricity production and distribution, along with water supply and wastewater treatment, only made up 0.8 and 0.1 percentage points of the total figure, respectively. However, the prospect in the second half of the year is bright, as the processing and manufacturing industry continued to attract foreign investment this year, with a total of $8.06 billion poured into 488 new projects and 405 existing ones. The expansion of processing and manufacturing will also stimulate the development of support industries, thus contributing to the overall industrial growth.
Vietnam's garment and textile industry has already taken possible Brexit influence into account, while conjuring up measures to weather its possible negative impacts.
Vietnam's garment exports to the EU accounts for approximately 20% of the total volume, with the UK contributing around 4%. The Vietnam Textile and Apparel Association said Brexit will definitely have impacts on garment and textile exporters due to the devaluation of the pound and the euro, which influence prices. The purchase power of British and European consumers will change as well. The association said material prices will have to be renegotiated due to changes in the exchange rate, which will have direct influence on enterprises from the fourth quarter of this year, leading to the disruption of orders in 2017. In addition, the Vietnam-EU Free Trade Agreement is likely to be reconsidered, it said, adding that how much influence Brexit will have on Vietnam remains unclear. In the short term, Brexit will have immediate impacts on the sector's production and sale as well as the jobs of Vietnamese workers, eventually influencing export growth rate to the EU this year. The association said to limit the impacts caused by Brexit, enterprises exporting to the UK and EU markets need to make more focus on traditional markets like the US, the Republic of Korea and Japan, as well as trying to expand their share in markets like Russia and Eastern Europe with new lines of products.
More than 2 million international tourists visited the capital city of Hanoi in the first 6 months of 2016, a year-on-year rise of 34%. More in the following report.
According to the Municipal Department of Tourism, the number of overnight stay tourists exceeded 1.5 million, rising 38% from the same period last year. The city has seen a double surge in the number of visitors from China and remarkable increases from other markets such as the Republic of Korea, Japan, Australia, and the US. The increasing trend has also been recorded from countries enjoying the visa exemption policy of Vietnam, namely France, Germany, Spain, and Italy. Along with upgrades made to tourism infrastructure, the city has paid attention to improving tourism quality and services, while promoting its tourism potential at international markets. Attracting investments for the tourism sector is also the city's top priority. In the reviewed period, the city has also received nearly 9 million domestic visitors, up 6% from the same period last year. The sector has generated $1.42 billion, a 25% year-on-year increase.
A photo by photographer Huỳnh Nam Dong depicting a young father cuddling his premature newborn on his chest, giving him skin-to-skin contact, won first prize in the Vietnamese Dad's Photo Contest. The first prize winner, Dong, a mechanical engineer by profession, said he was happy when his photo won the contest. The photo was taken at the Da Nang Hospital for Women and Children when I was there, seeking new sources for my photo shoots. When I stepped into the newborn department, I saw many young dads cuddling their babies on the chest, offering them kangaroo care. The contest was sponsored by the Swedish Embassy in Hanoi and by the Vietnam's Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism. It was inspired by Swedish Dads, a photo series created by Swedish photographer Johan Baffman, who documents the daily lives of Swedish fathers, taking advantage of Sweden's generous paternity leave to spend more time with their kids. More than 1,000 photos were submitted to the competition. The 28 best photos from the competition are on display through July at 20 Thuy Huê Street in Hanoi. And that has wrapped up our news bulletin. Thanks for joining us and goodbye for now.